Through my mother-in-law, many stories come as how it came to be. And over time, we as were taught to how stories were brought about. And in the longhouses many years ago, the education was received through stories. The grandparents would sit with the young ones and begin sharing stories of the day, activities, or events that took place over time. I find myself really interested in storytelling and how I use it through mythical. Have my young granddaughter who we sat together and started writing stories, and it's only on the path where Auntie Ellen Colossawood has started showing me how to put stories together. This story I'm going to talk about is my granddaughter Shawnee had to do a story for her school project and didn't know. She said, "I don't have an imagination." I said, "Yes, you do. Just close your eyes and listen to my story, and then I want you to write it." So she said it had to do with summer, and she wrote about a summer adventure. And this summer adventure ended up to 4 chapters. So one summer morning, I was playing down the beach, a place that I much enjoyed to be during the summertime. There was a gentle wind that filled the air with the smell of the ocean. As I was sitting in the sand, I heard a familiar noise, that of a whale, when they blew the air out. I jumped up from the sand and turned to look out into the ocean to see 3 whales, and one must have been just as young as me. I called out to them, "Good morning. I am over here. Hello." The 3 whales stopped and turned to look at me. My heart started pounding. It was a small one that came in closer and replied, "Good morning. What is your name?" I answered saying, "My name is Shawnee." Then I asked the little whale, "Where are you heading?" The little whale replied, "I'm going north with my parents to see all my other relatives that we haven't seen for a long time." I told the whale that I wish I could go north, but I couldn't swim. The little whale asked, "Do you believe in a creator?" I replied excitedly, "Yes. Yes, I do believe in our creator." "Then you must go home and pray to your creator tonight and ask him to help you change into one of us," said the young whale. He turned to join his parents who were waiting in the distance. Off I ran home to tell my grandmother what had just happened. Running into the house, I yelled out to my grandmother, "Grandmother, guess what I seen?" and spoke to down at the beach. Grandmother was sitting in the kitchen and smiled at me, nodding her head. "Yes, my granddaughter, what did you see?" As I shared what the young whale told me to do, grandmother turned and nodded. "Yes, my granddaughter, you must believe in your heart that our creator will come and give you your wish." After finishing my supper, my grandmother said, "Off to bed, and remember to say your prayer to the creator, thanking him for the beautiful day, and then ask him what you need to ask." Laying in bed, I closed my eyes and began to say my prayers, then ending up by asking the Creator to come and help me change into the young whale so I can travel up north with my friends and his parents. In my dreams, I dreamt of swimming in the deep ocean alongside of my new friend, the young whale, known as how do you say whale? My eyes opened to see morning. I jumped out of bed, calling out to my grandmother, "Grandmother, today is the day." "Yes, my granddaughter, today is a special day for you. Now sit down and eat your breakfast, as it will be your last until you return to me." Stomach full, I ran to the beach, excited as ever. I reached the water's edge and I called out to the young whale. Soon I heard the noise, and soon the young whale's head popped out of the water and asked me if I prayed. My answer was yes. So he said, "Follow my direction and do as I say." He said, you need to walk into the water backwards with your eyes closed and call out to the Creator. And then he said, when you reach your waist, you must turn around. I followed his directions, and when I turned around, I found myself turned into a young whale. I looked towards the beach to see my grandmother standing there waving and calling out, see you when summer is over. Be careful and listen to the parents of the young whale. I nodded and then turned to follow the young whale deep into the ocean. My heart was so happy to take the journey that I dreamt about so often. The grandmother of Shawnee's is Cetasia, which is me. Cetasia would sit for hours looking out to the sea, wondering when her granddaughter would return home. Each day she would pray to the Creator, asking to send a message to the granddaughter that she was missing so much. Another summer had come and gone. Then, one afternoon, Raven arrived in the village where Cetasia lived. Asking about Spall took Cetasia, asked where Cetasia could be found, that he was there to give a very important message sent to her by her granddaughter Shawnee. The village people just knew where to find Cetasia when she was not at home, down on the beach, a favorite spot where her granddaughter Shawnee used to play. Spall spoke the words as Shawnee wanted him to. Seatla, soon you will hear the great loon speak, announcing my journey home. I will be on my way home to visit with you. I will not come alone with you. With me will be my husband and our son, your great-grandson. Cetasia was so excited to get the news she longed to hear. She jumped with delight and said, I must prepare this. Lots to do. Thank you, Raven. Heichka Spall. The news soon spread throughout the village that Cetasia's granddaughter will be arriving soon with her great-grandson. The village people were so thrilled for the grandmother and began to prepare for the arrival by gathering food for the table. Early morning, everyone went down to sit and wait down at the beach. Soon they heard the call. Eyes were all focused on the entrance of the bay and soon heard the familiar sound of the orca call. Everyone stood up in excitement to see 3 orcas coming into the bay. The grandmother stood up waving her hands, tears of joy streamed down her cheeks. Then calmly the grandmother stood up and asked all to stand and face the village. Without question, all did as asked. Cetasia reminded all of the importance of not looking at the orcas. Soon they heard the voice of the granddaughter. We are here, grandmother. Grandmother turned to see her granddaughter along with her mate and her son standing on the beach. Oh, what joy! Everyone stood filled with happiness to witness the newest member of the village. Great-grandson slowly walked towards his great-grandma. Great-grandma knelt down on the sand and embraced her great-grandson and said over and over again, my great-grandson. Everyone ran to the granddaughter and her mate, embracing them, telling they were just so happy to see them return home with a gift of love. Grandmother then stood up to embrace her granddaughter and her mate, saying, I'm just so happy to see you, that you arrived safely. Cetasia raised her hands, inviting everyone back to the longhouse to begin the feast, celebrating their return to listen to all granddaughter's stories of journey into her new world. So those are the 2 chapters that I wrote, and granddaughter went into the potlatch supper where she's sitting in the longhouse and sharing her stories of the journey and all the animals that she came about when she was on the journey back home, how she met the Salmon people and met the young girl that was from her village. And she brought home many stories to share, to let the people know that the salmon was still bountiful and that they always must follow the teachings and the traditions of caring for the salmon for the first run. And I ended at that because the salmon in our traditional territory is very important.